Hello, hello, it's Raven. Welcome to a video. This is a speed build of a big ol' modern house. It's modern on the outside, not so much on the inside. And I wanted to keep it more towards my style than what my first speed build was. I kind of kept everything a little bit darker the way I like it, and I've kind of just built what I wanted to build this time. Also, instead of placing all the furniture and then arranging all the furniture and then building around it in that order, I'm kind of going room by room. So I'm starting here with the living room, and I just put up that wall, trying to find a wall color. Couldn't find a good one just yet, so I decided to move on and maybe kind of try to arrange the rest of the first floor before coloring the walls and the floors and everything like that. So I put down the kitchen and the dining room because I knew I wanted those to all be kind of connected. And I like having big wide doorways near or around the dining room. It kind of, the walls around it were a little bit fiddly because I wanted the table centered on both walls with the doorways, but I it took me like 5 minutes to figure out these walls. I cut out most of it, but I finally found a good spot for it. I put the kitchen right next to it. And of course, I'm going to change the colors for the kitchen later, but I thought at first I was going to extend the house back past the kitchen a little bit, but then I really like having a window over the sink and the stove, so I just put the window there just to remind myself that that's going to be an exterior wall of the house, so I don't accidentally just build another room behind it. And then moving back into the living room, I decided to put just a wall of books. I love the way that looks, just a whole wall filled with books. And at first, this was supposed to be just a 2 bed, 2 bath family home. But then I decided if I want to add a second floor to it, I might as well add a guest room downstairs because it'd be kind of weird to have a really small first floor and then have all the bedrooms upstairs. And I don't know, I wanted this house to be bigger than the original furniture that I had placed. So I just started adding new furniture for a guest bedroom downstairs as well as a guest bathroom. Right next to what I'm building here, there's a little bathroom that goes right off of the kitchen. And then this is an ensuite for the guest room because, the family that lives here likes to treat their guests. Imagine staying at somebody's house and having to poop in a shared bathroom. I could never. But I thought it'd be nice to just, this could be a guest room. This could also be another bedroom, depending on how big of a family. If you were to play with this house, that, you can move in a pretty big family here. So you could turn that into anything, turn it into a library if you want. But I thought I'd make it a guest room. I kept the living area to that size. I kind of brought in, I like having a little indent in the house for the front door. It kind of makes it a little more secluded feeling, I guess. And then moving up to the second floor, I just moved all the furniture up there for now just so I could kind of figure out where I wanted the rooms to go because I didn't want the top floor to be a carbon copy of the bottom floor. I didn't want all the walls to be 2 floors high on the exterior, if that makes any sense. Like wanted the shape to be a little more interesting. So I added a little laundry room to the back of the kitchen. At first I was going to put a hallway leading to bedrooms back there, but then I decided, adding the second floor, I'd put something else there. So a laundry room I thought would fit perfectly. And I decided to put the stairs right here off of the living room because where else would make sense, honestly. I kind of extended it a little bit just to allow a little bit more walking room and so I could fit a back door between the stairs and the bookshelves. And it always takes me forever to find a good railing for the stairs for some reason. I don't know why. And I wanted to keep them pretty narrow too. If I'd made them 2 tiles wide, they would have taken up way too much space. So I'm starting upstairs with the ensuite bathroom to what ended up being the master bedroom. I pretty much just designed and decorated this bedroom the way I would my own bedroom. It's not really like a successful adult couple lives here or it's just any successful like adult. I am technically an adult, but I don't know, it kind of seems the way I have it, it seems younger, like a younger person lives there. I don't know if that makes any sense, but Here I'm just building the upstairs shared bathroom. I made it a little bit narrower just to, I don't know, it was too big and it kind of makes the outside of the house a little more interesting as well. I always start the placeholder furniture that I use for bedrooms is a double bed, 2 nightstands, a dresser, and a mirror. And then if I can always add and take things away from there. And there's a third room up here as well that I turned into a study. That could also be turned into a bedroom. This is technically, if this house was empty, it could be sold as a 4-bedroom house. But I wanted to have a little study space upstairs with some skill building stuff. And the roofing kind of took me a minute to figure out. I knew I wanted the house to look kind of modern, but I didn't want to do just the flat, angled, tilted roof. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what these different roofs are called, but I thought I'd try something with these, and then it just didn't look right to me, especially with those windows. Those windows look so modern to me. So I went back to these roofs, which I had initially thought I would use, and I ended up liking it a lot better. And I wasn't really sure how this was going to turn out. I knew I wanted it to look big and fancy and modern, but it ended up giving it a pretty cool kind of fanned effect that you'll see in a minute when from the front view of the house. I at first was trying to line these up so it would just look like one long piece of roof, but then I thought, hey, it might look kind of cool if I raise it up and I kind of each section of the ceiling here that I cover with roofing could be a different strip of roof. I guess I don't really know how to explain it, but you can see it happening here. So it's kind of like in steps. So the front looks really cool. It has a similar effect from the backyard as well, but I just thought that looked really cool, so I decided to leave it that way. Adding in some more windows and trying my best not to overdo it. I don't remember if I keep that. No, I don't keep that center. I just left it. There were so many times while I was building this house that I had to remind myself sometimes less is more, especially with modern builds. There are a lot of clean, smooth, plain walls, and for that style it works. I'm not the biggest fan of sparse looking areas in living spaces, but for this build, it actually really worked, and I ended up really liking how it looked. And it's really hard to find, when you're doing a modern build, to find fencing or a railing that is modern, that isn't glass. I don't know if there is any. I'm sure there are other ones that work, but I ended up just going with this glass one. And I realized as I was editing this video down, I never put any kind of support column for this little bit of roof that comes out over that little deck. But I mean, maybe I didn't realize it because it's not that noticeable without it. We can just pretend that's a very strong, sturdy roof by itself. Adding on some more windows around the house, trying to keep it not too crazy looking. I wanted to keep the big, fancy windows in the downstairs area, if I put them all over the house, it probably would have looked like too much. My too much gene was starting to kick in, so I had to rein it in a little bit. I did know that I wanted the majority of the outside of this house to be this nice solid white color, and I was going to add in some light brown accents, I think. The color I ended up going with, I wanted to do a kind of big stripe, I guess, make it look like a slice, like these different steps of the roofs are kind of slices, I guess, kind of like books stacked on a shelf almost. And I really liked this one wallpaper because the stripes in the wood texture, I guess. It looks really cool. It almost looks like it's lit up. So I thought that'd be a really cool thing. I kind of played around with different placements for that wallpaper, and I ended up just trying not to overdo it too much. But I liked a lot what I came up with, and the darker the roof, the fancier it looks to me. I don't know. I just made it a little bit darker, and just going around putting this very plain foundation. Moving on to the landscaping outside, I wanted that kind of desert looking landscaping really badly for this house. So I set down some sand and some of those little deserty plants, a few cacti, and I put down a few rocks. I wanted to also line these little sand spots with rocks, but these were a little big. So I just took a bunch of them and I sized them down too far at first, and then I made them bigger again, I initially had them this size, and it was way too time consuming, and I thought it was just too many, I guess. So I ended up making them a little bit bigger. They're still sized down from their original size, but I like it this way a lot better. I tried to rotate them. I used the same rock, and I just rotated it around just to break up the monotony a little bit. But I really like how it came out. It's very cute little spots of desert outside, and I tried to figure out what tree looks modern. What trees go well with a modern build? And I just picked a palm tree because I don't know. I'm from Southern California. We have a lot of architecture like this in the more affluent neighborhoods, and of course there's palm trees everywhere. So to me it made sense. Going back to the interior now, I wanted a very nice dark hardwood floor, and couldn't really decide on one, but then I came across this diagonal floor that I do like to use a lot that I don't see a lot of people using, and I don't know why. It adds another dimension to the room, I guess. So everything isn't all 90-degree angles. I really like diagonal flooring like this. And I initially had wanted a more plain wallpaper, like this the brown trimming and a black wall without that design in the middle, but I couldn't find it. I could have sworn it existed in some pack or another. I don't know if it was a base game thing, but I ended up going with this vampires wallpaper because you can't really see it at all angles, because I guess it's a little bit shiny, and it worked out. So the inside of the house doesn't really match the outside that much. I tried to keep it not super different. I kept some modern aspects to the inside, but it's definitely not an entirely modern house. And I had this space back here. I totally thought that spot in between those windows is perfect for the globe bar. So of course I threw that in there. And I just kind of made it look like a little corner to mix a drink when you have company over and stuff. Just a few plants to fill it in. And yeah, I really like how this corner ended up looking. I was going to add maybe a few more things in there, but again, less is more with these kinds of builds. And there seemed to be a theme throughout this whole build of rugs giving me issues. I could not for the life of me find a good rug to fit in that space in front of the bookshelves. I wanted some kind of just a nice long cushy runner just to, I don't know, soften the floors a little bit or something, but I could not find one. So I decided to just leave it out, and I wanted to decorate these walls a little bit but not go too overboard. So I just put a few little accents there. And I thought this corner would be perfect for a little accent table. Just a nice dark modern looking one. So I picked that spa day one. And I just put a little rocky plant, and those elephant books went really nicely. And I thought just one big art print would be perfect here, and I really like this black and white one that I found. So that's all that corner really needed, was just a little decoration. The front entrance, I was trying to keep it not exactly the same as I make every single front entrance of every single build, but I ended up putting the shoes and the coat rack. So moving along to the kitchen, I changed everything to black and white because it just looks very nice and clean. I think the kitchen is the most modern part of the interior of this house. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to put that floor to ceiling cabinet thing in the corner, and just put a corner cabinet in there instead of just having a blank wall at the end. But I really like how this kitchen turned out. There's plenty of counter space to prepare stuff along the island part. So I could just fill that corner counter with clutter and make it look like a nice lived-in kitchen. And I just put a bunch of stools around the bar there. It's a perfect little breakfast area. And I had this big old blank wall or in front of the kitchen, behind however you want to orient yourself with this. So I thought that really cool industrial light structure would be perfect for there. I really like that thing. That's something I would have at my own place if it existed in real life. And I wanted some kind of chandelier over the dining table just to make the dining room a little bit more formal of a space, because I figure they could always just eat at the island and then use this for special events or just nice dinners, nice family dinners. And I really like this kind of mid-century modern looking one. So I put that one down. Took me a minute to find a good rug, but I'm happy with the one I chose. And I was gonna try to put some artwork on this shorter wall as well, but I ended up, after putting that big art piece and the two plants, I ended up just leaving it because every time I held something up there to see what it looked like, it just looked like too much, so I just left it blank. And this is now the shared bathroom that goes off of the kitchen. I just kept it very simple, black and white. I put a little shower down there. Not that anyone would really have reason to use it. It's just there to fill the space. And the guest room, I wanted to keep it not super generic looking, but still so that anybody could stay there and feel comfortable. I kept it very simple, not a lot of stuff in here. Kind of like a hotel room might be, you know? I put a few little decorative accents here and there. I really love these framed posters that came with Get Famous, I think, because there are so many different swatches with different color schemes and they all work. And I just love how they look. I really like the look of framed movie posters. So I'll put a couple of them in there. And of course, more trouble with a rug. This one took me a minute too, so I just went with that geometric looking one. Moving on to the laundry room, I just kept all the placeholders in here that I had. I really love all the stuff that came with the laundry day pack. So I just picked the black swatch for everything, and I left it pretty simple in here. Again, trying to find a rug. Unable to. I ended up not putting one in there. I just gave up because I also, it would have to be centered with the room, but then also with the doorway, and the doorway was a little bit off, but I didn't want to move it now, so because that would throw off the dining room. And I was trying so hard to make this curtain hang lower, but not in the center. So I ended up it didn't really work, so I just left it that way. And moving on upstairs, I put the same wallpaper up here. Just put a couple little nice art prints along this back wall because I wasn't going to put a curtain over this window, so I just wanted to fancy up that wall a little bit. And I wanted to decorate this long dark hallway, so I put a couple art prints up. I thought it'd be cute to have, maybe if the family that lives here had a few members that were in the public eye or something and they were on some magazine covers, or maybe they work in journalism. It'd be cute to have a few magazine covers framed up there. And just a little plant for the corner. That's pretty much all I really did with the hallway. Moving on to the master bedroom. Again, I decorated it the way I would decorate my own room in a house like this. I initially wanted black and gold accents in here, but then I changed the bedding because it looked a little bit garish to me. I put a little desk in this corner because I didn't really know what else to do there. And I know there's a study down the hall, but I thought just a nice little workspace for whoever lives in here. Of course, another movie poster. I just love how they look. And I really love the lamps that I put on there. They're super industrial looking. This house is turning into kind of a mix of modern and vintage and industrial. It's all over the place. But I personally have never been to a house that has one style throughout the whole thing. It's a little bit more realistic to me to have kind of a mix match styling because, more than one person lives here. Not everybody has the same taste. I thought it worked out pretty well. This is the nice fancy ensuite bathroom for the master. I love the idea of having a separate bath and shower. It just levels it up a little bit, and I love that long strip light that I put next to the bathtub as well. I thought that made the space a little more interesting. This is that shared bathroom on the upstairs. It's very narrow, but I think it works. I at first had wanted to put a shower / bath here, so I tried to put the university shower next to the bathtub, but of course that wouldn't work without a shower curtain. I mean, it probably wouldn't even be usable in The Sims, but it just looked weird to have a shower without a shower curtain or a door. So I just left it as a bathtub up here. So there is a shower downstairs that is usable, and there's a bathtub up here, and then of course, the en-suites have both, but this is the second bedroom now. And I wanted to do something different in here because all the rooms were very, very dark. So I was trying different wallpapers because, of course, I'm not going to change the floor because that wouldn't make any sense to have one room have different flooring. So I kept the same floors and I decided to go with this just plain white wall because I figured whoever moved in here would just make do with the dark floors but just paint their walls completely white to brighten up the room. And at first I was going to have everything very white and beige, but then I found this blue swatch of this bed and I thought, oh, that's kind of nice. I like the blue and black together. So I changed the curtains and the nightstands to match that. This is also a little bit more of a younger room, maybe a teenager lives in this one. And at first I had the wardrobe here, but then I knew I wanted to put a bookshelf in here as well. But the bookshelf ended up looking like it was kind of looming over the bed. I guess it didn't really fit against this wall. So I ended up, see, it was too close. It was weird because it's such a tall bookshelf. So I ended up rearranging those things a little bit, and I like how it ended up looking. I threw on some clutter items on here. Some of them look like they're floating, but from this angle you can't really tell. So the bunny books there, those are floating, but you know, who really cares? And the stuff that I'm putting on the top, it's clipping through the bottom of that shelf, but who's really going to play with the angle that low anyway? You can't really tell. So, of course, more framed movie posters that I love. I want actual prints of all of these in my house. They're so nice. Moving on to the study, I, of course, had to change the bookshelves because they were blocking the window. So I just put in these nice, simple bookshelves, threw on some curtains. I kept the chess table and I kept the desk. I just made different swatches of everything. And I really like having comfy seating by big windows so you can sit and read. So I did that there. And of course, just dressing up the desk a little bit. Put those folders that always make it look like a nicer workspace. And I couldn't decide between the animal swatch and the painting swatch, but I thought because the little back thing had dark wood with the paints, that worked better. Just threw a little plant in the corner. This was, I think, the one room where the first rug that I chose worked. So I just put in that big round rug. And I went back to the master and I changed the wallpaper to, I think it was kind of the wallpaper I was looking for in the beginning, where it's just plain black with wooden trim, but I think that wooden trim was only along the bottom. So I was trying to find good fencing for the backyard that matched the rest of the house. But of course, glass wasn't going to work, and then this weird white fence just didn't match. So I decided to just go with half walls. And of course, because the house was on a foundation, the half walls weren't going to attach. So I thought I might be stuck with those little nuggets of the white fencing. But then I moved the wall over, and it attached, it fit, it worked. But I did not notice that it deleted that little part of the roof on the other side. It happened over here on this side, so I was trying all different things to attach it, and I ended up just shoving like a little gate in there. But the other side, I never noticed that the roof was deleted. It will have it in the gallery. I went back in and I put the roof back in, and I just put in another little gate on the other side. So if you download this from the gallery, it will have a roof there, and it'll just have another gate. But I did not notice that disappeared. I just wanted to add a little barbecue nook back here. Just keep the backyard very clean and nice. It's not a very like family friendly yard. I was gonna put in some monkey bars or something, but I don't know, it didn't really fit. And also this hot tub. I thought a place like this would have something fancy like a hot tub, but it didn't really fit. It looked like it was cramped in there. So I just decided to put some more desert plants in the corners of this backyard. And I left it pretty nice and simple. Just a nice place to enjoy the outdoors and relax a little bit. Just put in a few lights. I really like, once I put all the exterior lighting, I really like looking at my houses at night because everything just looks nicer at night. So going into the screenshots, I really, really like how the exterior of this turned out. I initially was just going to have one slice of the roofing have that brown wallpaper, but I'm glad I added more. It made it a little bit more interesting. The front entrance I love that little tiny narrow window around the door. Very nice, fancy living room, a little book corner, that accent table, and nice guest room, very sparse, very neat and clean. And of course, the nice little guest bathroom. And I love this view into the dining room. I think that looks really cool. Nice kitchen area. I would love to sit at this island and have that view out that little window and the big window next to the island as well, and just enjoy my breakfast there. The laundry room, the upstairs hallway. I did try to put a rug in that hallway as well, just a nice runner to fill in the space. But of course, for some reason, the rugs just wanted to give me issues in this build, so I decided against it there. This is that nice bright blue room, and the long upstairs shared bathroom. I ended up really liking how this came out as well. the master, which is very me inspired. I don't know why it came out that way. I don't know if this looks like an adult's room to anybody else. To me, it doesn't really. I think just because it's like my personal taste anyway, but I love how this bathroom came out, especially with that little plant in the corner. View of the backyard as well. Just very nice, very clean. And there's the floor plan. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.